time, yeah.
Yeah, I think we've talked a lot about, thinking about these characters in the context of a world in which they don't know Peter Parker, and how he has influenced their life and their personality and who they have become without knowing.
It has been the pleasure of my career playing this character. I've made friends for life, I've met the love of my life,
All of the previous movies in theaters when they came out, as a kid to an adult. But then specifically, I remember like my first date when I was maybe 16 years old was to one of Andrew's.
Dang.
I know, sorry. But it all worked out.
What happens when Tom Holland and Zendaya stop feeling like two Hollywood stars for a moment and start looking like an ordinary couple completely comfortable with each other? For roughly 10 minutes, every little glance, smile, joke, and reaction suddenly feels different. Tom Holland and Zendaya have spent years at the center of one of Hollywood's most talked about relationships. From their Spider-Man days to red carpets, interviews, fashion moments, and countless fan theories, the two have managed to create something unusual. A relationship that feels incredibly public and incredibly private at the same time. And that is exactly why moments like this get people talking. Because when Tom and Zendaya interact, fans don't just hear the words. They watch the body language. They notice the smiles. They replay the pauses. They analyze who looked at whom first, and sometimes even the smallest joke becomes a headline. Now imagine watching the pair for 10 straight minutes, while they simply behave like a married couple. No dramatic movie scene. No scripted romance. No giant Hollywood production. Just Tom and Zendaya talking, teasing each other, laughing, and showing the kind of comfortable chemistry that makes viewers feel as though they are watching a private conversation rather than a celebrity interview. And that is where things get interesting. Tom has always had a reputation for being energetic, playful, and occasionally unable to hide what he is thinking. Zendaya, on the other hand, often comes across as calm, composed, and incredibly quick with her responses. Put those personalities together, and you get a dynamic that practically writes itself. Tom says something. Zendaya gives him that look. He realizes what he has done. She starts laughing. And suddenly, the entire conversation feels less like two celebrities sitting together, and more like two people who have known each other for years. That familiarity is one of the biggest reasons fans remain fascinated by them. Their relationship has never needed constant grand declarations to keep people interested. In fact, it is often the tiny moments that generate the biggest reactions. A smile across the room. A hand placed gently on the other person's back. A playful comment. A private joke that nobody else understands. These details can make a celebrity relationship feel more genuine because they don't look like something designed for a camera. And during a conversation like this, Tom's personality becomes especially noticeable. He can be incredibly expressive. Sometimes he looks at Zendaya before answering a question, almost as if he is checking her reaction first. Sometimes she laughs before he has even finished speaking. And sometimes, Tom appears to realize that he has said something that might embarrass him later. That is when Zendaya's reaction becomes the real entertainment. She doesn't necessarily have to say much. One smile can be enough. One raised eyebrow can completely change the mood. And fans know exactly what to look for. The conversation may start normally, but gradually, the atmosphere changes. Instead of sounding like two actors discussing their careers, they begin sounding like two people who are extremely comfortable around one another. They interrupt each other. They finish each other's thoughts. They laugh at things that might not even be funny to anyone else. And that is the part viewers cannot stop talking about. Because chemistry is difficult to manufacture. You can write dialogue. You can plan an interview. You can position cameras perfectly. But genuine comfort is much harder to fake. Tom and Zendaya have spent years getting to know one another. and that history naturally affects the way they communicate. There is a rhythm. Tom brings the chaos. Zendaya brings the calm. Tom makes a joke. Zendaya gives him the perfect comeback. And suddenly, the entire room feels lighter. At some point, the conversation can almost feel like you're watching the couple at home, rather than watching Hollywood stars. And that's where the husband and wife comparison comes from. Not necessarily because every playful interaction proves anything about their private life, but because the dynamic feels familiar. It has that comfortable, lived-in quality. The kind where two people don't need to impress each other anymore. They can simply exist in the same space. And honestly, that may be more romantic than any red carpet kiss. Because when two people are genuinely comfortable, silence isn't awkward. A joke doesn't need an explanation. A look can communicate an entire sentence. And Tom and Zendaya have repeatedly shown that kind of effortless rhythm in public moments. But here's the twist. The more relaxed they become, the more fans start noticing things that might otherwise go unnoticed. Tom's attention seems to naturally drift towards Zendaya. Zendaya seems to know exactly when Tom is about to say something ridiculous. And when they laugh together, it doesn't feel like a carefully rehearsed celebrity moment. It feels spontaneous. That is why 10 minutes can feel like much longer. Every reaction becomes part of the story. And every small interaction gives fans another reason to believe that their connection goes much deeper than simply being co-stars. Of course, Hollywood relationships come with endless speculation. Every photo can become a theory. Every interview can become evidence. Every comment can be taken apart by thousands of fans online. But sometimes, the simplest explanation is also the most interesting one. Two people who genuinely enjoy each other's company. And perhaps that's what makes Tom and Zendaya so fascinating. They don't always need to say something dramatic. They can simply sit next to each other, talk about ordinary things, laugh at each other's jokes, and somehow turn a completely normal conversation into something fans remember. But just when you think the conversation is settling down, Tom does what Tom does best. He makes another comment. Zendaya reacts. The room erupts in laughter. And suddenly, that 10-minute interaction becomes the kind of moment fans replay again and again. Because sometimes romance isn't about saying, "I love you." Sometimes it's about the way someone looks at you when you're not even talking. And Tom Holland seems to have mastered that without even trying. But if part one proves anything, it's this. The fascination isn't only about whether Tom and Zendaya look romantic. It's about how comfortable they look. And that brings us to the second half of the story. Because once the jokes, teasing, and laughter begin, their dynamic starts looking even more like the kind of relationship people describe as completely settled. And that's where things get really interesting. Sometimes they're hidden inside a laugh, a glance, a pause, or the way one person instinctively reacts when the other starts talking. And with Tom and Zendaya, those tiny reactions have become a major part of their public image as a couple. Think about what makes a long-term relationship look different from a brand new romance. New couples often try to impress each other. They choose their words carefully. They worry about how they look. They are still learning each other's habits. But couples who have spent years together often become completely different. They tease each other. They interrupt each other. They know each other's sense of humor. They can predict the next sentence. And they don't seem worried about looking perfect. That is exactly the energy fans often see from Tom and Zendaya. Tom can be goofy. Zendaya can be sarcastic. And somehow they fit. One of the most entertaining parts of their dynamic is that Zendaya doesn't always let Tom get away with everything. If he says something embarrassing, she can call him out. If he makes a ridiculous joke, she can give him a look that says everything. And Tom seems to love it. That kind of playful disagreement is often what makes a relationship feel real. It's not about agreeing on everything. It's about being comfortable enough to disagree and still laugh afterward. And that is why fans sometimes describe their interactions as married couple energy. It's not necessarily about a specific legal status or one particular moment. It's about the feeling, the comfort, the familiarity, the way they behave when they don't seem to be trying to create a perfect celebrity image. And let's be honest, Hollywood couples don't get much more analyzed than these two. Every appearance becomes content. Every photo gets reposted. Every interview clip gets dissected. But despite all that attention, Tom and Zendaya often seem remarkably focused on each other rather than on the audience. That is what makes their interactions so captivating. Imagine watching Tom tell a story. He gets excited. His hands start moving. His expression changes. And Zendaya is sitting there listening. She smiles. Maybe she laughs. Maybe she already knows where the story is going. That kind of interaction may look insignificant to everyone else, but to fans who have followed them for years, it becomes another little piece of the puzzle. It shows familiarity. And familiarity can be incredibly romantic. There is also something fascinating about the difference between their personalities. Tom often appears spontaneous and openly emotional. Zendaya tends to be more controlled and deliberate. Together, those differences balance each other. Tom can pull Zendaya into a laugh. Zendaya can bring Tom back down when he gets carried away. It creates a natural rhythm. And that rhythm is difficult to ignore. The conversation continues. Another joke. Another reaction. Another moment where Tom looks at Zendaya. And then something happens that fans have seen countless times before. They laugh together. Not a polite celebrity laugh. Not the kind of laugh people give when a camera is pointed at them. A genuine laugh. The kind that makes you forget you're watching famous people. For a few seconds, they're simply Tom and Zendaya. Two people enjoying a moment together. And perhaps that is the biggest reason fans are so invested. Celebrity relationships often feel distant. But Tom and Zendaya have managed to create moments that feel strangely relatable. They tease each other. They laugh at stupid jokes. They embarrass each other. They have inside references. And they occasionally look at each other like nobody else in the room exists. That is the stuff that makes the internet go crazy. Of course, fans should always remember that public moments only show a small part of someone's private life. A 10-minute conversation cannot tell us everything about a relationship. It cannot reveal what happens behind closed doors. And it certainly shouldn't be treated as proof of every rumor circulating online. But it can show us something real. How two people interact when they are comfortable enough to let their personalities come through. And that is what makes this conversation so entertaining. The husband and wife comparison works because the pair don't need a giant romantic gesture to create that impression. They can do it through ordinary behavior. Tom listening while Zendaya talks. Zendaya laughing at Tom's jokes. Tom trying to make her laugh again. Zendaya knowing exactly how to respond. It's almost like watching a relationship in miniature. 10 minutes. Hundreds of little expressions. Countless fan theories. And one very obvious conclusion. These two know each other extremely well. Their chemistry isn't based only on romance. It's based on friendship, trust, familiarity, and a shared sense of humor. That combination may actually be the strongest part of their relationship. Because attraction can bring two people together. But friendship is what often keeps them comfortable once the excitement settles. And Tom and Zendaya seem to have plenty of that. Maybe that's why even a completely ordinary interview can feel like a major event. Fans aren't necessarily waiting for some shocking confession. They're waiting for the next little moment. The next smile. The next joke. The next time Tom says something and Zendaya immediately knows what he means. And when those moments happen, social media does what social media always does. Clips spread. Fans react. Comments multiply. People replay the footage. Some viewers call it adorable. Others call it married couple energy. And some simply enjoy watching two people who clearly seem to have fun together. But underneath all the jokes and speculation, there is something surprisingly simple. Tom Holland and Zendaya have built a public relationship that continues to fascinate people because their connection often feels natural. They don't need to constantly prove anything. They don't need to create a dramatic scene. Sometimes, they just need to sit together and talk. And for 10 minutes, that's enough. Because when you watch the teasing, the laughter, the looks, and the effortless communication, you begin to understand why fans remain so invested in their story. It's not just about Spider-Man. It's not just about Hollywood. It's not even just about romance. It's about watching two people who seem genuinely comfortable being themselves around each other. And maybe that's the real reason this 10-minute conversation feels so much bigger than 10 minutes. It captures something fans rarely get to see from celebrities. Normality. Two famous people behaving like two ordinary people who happen to know each other incredibly well. Tom makes Zendaya laugh. Zendaya keeps Tom grounded. They tease. They listen. They react. They smile. And somehow, without needing a dramatic declaration, the entire interaction creates that unmistakable feeling fans recognize immediately. That feeling of two people who have become part of each other's everyday lives. So are Tom Holland and Zendaya really giving husband and wife energy? Fans will certainly continue debating it. But one thing is undeniable. Their chemistry remains one of the most talked about dynamics in modern celebrity culture. And perhaps the most interesting part is that they don't seem to be trying very hard. No huge performance. No over-the-top romantic speech. Just Tom being Tom. Zendaya being Zendaya. And the two of them sharing a conversation that somehow keeps viewers watching until the very last second. Because sometimes the strongest chemistry isn't found in a movie. It's found in the little moments between two people when they forget the cameras are there. And for Tom Holland and Zendaya, those little moments may be exactly why fans can't look away.